going on, everyone? Dad's Break, we're back, baby. Hope you enjoyed that intro. Dad's Break, a time where I can just get away from the kids, relax, talk about a book that I've read this month. For the month of May 2001. I'm a little late. Confession to make. I did read a book during the month of May, but I gave the book back to a coworker of mine's. That book was called Decade by Decade by I forget the author's name. But anyway, I went on and read another book real fast, which was a book and a topic that I love to watch on TV and I love to read. Before we start, my name is Arthur Rashad, author of the book Fatherless Son: How the Criminal Justice System Tore My Family Apart and Brought Us Back Together. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this page. Okay, so the book for this month was I'll Make You an Offer You Can't Refuse. Awesome book by Mike Franzese, who was a capo in the Colombo family in an organized crime in the Italian mafia back in the 1980s. I seen an interview with him recently, 2 interviews with him, one on Vlad TV and one on another podcast. And he had 2 great interviews. I mean, a guy with an amazing story. He came up through the ranks in the Colombo family. First started off as a soldier. His father was also in the mafia. He went to jail, spent some time. He admitted to doing all kinds of crimes, anything you can think of, that the Italian mafia was into back in the late 70s, early 80s. Racketeering, loan sharking, gambling, everything that you can name he was into. But he's most famous for his what they call a gas cartel, and that's where he eventually got in the gasoline business, where he would sell gasoline to a neighborhood, from your regular gas station, but then he wouldn't pay the government their cut. So he would, for every gallon he made, he was supposed to pay, I think, 35 cents off the gallon. Well, he would just never pay it. So he would just sell. When it came time to pay the government their taxes, he would move on, open up another gas station. And he had done this for years upon years. Actually, when he was in jail, when he finally got caught, the government sent him a bill for $50 million in taxes, back taxes that they said he owed. So, good book. He went to jail. He did 10 years. He actually beat the government 3 times in court, lost the 4th time when it came to his gasoline scheme that he had. His co-defendant was also his business partner in the gasoline industry, and his business partner actually kept notes on all the illegal things that he was doing and that Mike Franzese was doing throughout their time together, essentially frauding the government. I wanted to read this book because he's now a Christian, and starting off from the Italian mafia, he was one that got away. They say, once you're in the Italian mafia, there is no leaving. So he was one that was able to get out of the mafia and essentially walk away with his life. I guess, which is rare amongst a lot of the people that enter into that life, the Cosa Nostra, right? This thing of ours. And he teaches on business. So what it says here is insider business tips from a former mob boss. So he talks about the way you can level up your business compared to the way they would essentially run a crime family, which is like a business. He speaks of one incident in particular that he had with John Gotti, where him and John Gotti were both running I believe it was like a swap meet or a market or something like that. And one of John Gotti's workers was stealing money and selling drugs out of the swap meet. And so from his point of view, he said, I needed to get out of this deal. And you can only get out of the deal 2 ways. Either I pay John Gotti to walk away, or John Gotti pays me to walk away. Well, John Gotti, Mr. Untouchable, he knew that he couldn't, John Gotti wasn't going to let him pay him off. So he said, I got to find a way for John to pay me off. But if John knows that I want him to pay me off, he's going to offer me a very low amount. So he went into it with John Gotti's personality and says to John Gotti, look, man, you're done here, man. I'm paying you off. I got enough money to pay you off. And he knew that his reputation, because of what he had going on in the gasoline business, which was making millions upon millions of dollars a week, he knew that John Gotti was kind of going to look at him like, why are you trying to sum me, to use some street slang. And so he goes into the meeting and says, John Gotti, I'm buying you out. You're done here, man. I'm buying you out. And John Gotti says, no, I'm not. You know you're not. I'm buying you out. And he says, no, you're done here, John. I got the money. Tell me what your price is. I'll buy you out. And John Gotti comes back with him. Tell me your price and I'll buy you out. And he gave him a price. And eventually John Gotti bought him out. So that was a pretty good business tip as when you're going into negotiations for your business. You need to know what kind of personality the person across from you has, right? John Gotti had the personality that I just need to win the fight. I just need to win the argument. I just need to win. I need to win this debate. So essentially, he let him win the debate, but he got exactly what he wanted. And like I said, it was a good book. It's your American story where a guy is supposed to be dead or in jail, and yet he's not. He's back out on the street. He's not in protective custody. He goes around from church to church, and he has written a couple books. And I thought it was overall a pretty good book, man. It's a pretty good book. I'll read one passage for you that I thought made a lot of sense and was good and pertains a lot to some of the things that I have going on now. So with the crime families, they believe in Machiavelli's teaching, right? And Machiavelli's teaching was, do whatever you got to do to get ahead. The ends got to justify the means. So if you got to kill, you got to lie, you got to you got to speak slander upon somebody, that's fine, as long as you're getting ahead. You can do that. And he says, I lived by that throughout my life in the crime family. But when I started reading the scriptures, I went more towards Solomon's teaching, which is, look, just try to do the right thing. Try not to, or don't lie, don't kill, don't cheat, don't do all those things. If you do the right thing, then you'll be successful. So throughout the book, he's comparing Machiavelli's teaching with Solomon's teaching, which is pretty cool. So I'll read this quick blurb for you. It says, but Solomon taught, do not gloat when your enemy falls, when he stumbles. Do not let your heart rejoice, or the Lord will see and disapprove and turn his wrath away from him. And he writes also, he who plots evil will be known as a schemer. And do not exploit the poor because they are poor, and do not crush the needy in court, for the Lord will take up their case and will plunder those who plunder them. Right? So I'm sure a lot of you know about what I have going on with my father, and a big thing is that he was taken advantage of, right, in the criminal justice system. So in the scripture, he tells, don't worry about it. God is going to take that fight up for you. You just stay focused, right? So overall, good book. I recommended it. I gave it 4 stars. And I'll tell you why I gave it 4 stars. And that just leads me to a part of the book that I didn't appreciate, which was the end of the book. He has such an amazing book, such an amazing story. And I thought it was just going to end off with that. And then at the end of the book, he goes into politics, right? And he goes into politics and he starts, name calling politicians. And this is why this country is this side, this country is that. And I just felt like, man, you had such a great book. The polarizing movement that we're in. The polarizing moment that we're in with politics, where people just run to one corner or the other. You could have left the politics out of the book and just stuck with what you knew. But, for somebody like me, once I see somebody like Mike Franzese, right, tell a politician who's went to school, stayed out of trouble, did everything they could do, just because he disagrees with you politically, you have to name call him. You have to start the name calling. I could have did without that, right? Forget about it, right? But not for nothing, right? You were in the mafia. So all the things that you've done in life, and you feel like you were obligated now to speak bad about a politician that disagrees. So I could have did without that. But, nonetheless, it was a great book. I understand the book. I understand that now he's out and he's free. He's doing the right thing, and he feels like, hey, I can speak up just like anyone else. So kudos to him. Kudos to him for a second chance. And I recommend the book. We'll look on to this month, the month of June. I have 2 books that I'm looking at reading. I'm taking a class, so I might not be able to get both books done. But this one, Love Warrior, got this from the dollar store. Should be a good book. Glennon Milton. We'll see. We'll see what happens. This book right here, which is called The Second, Race and Guns in a Fatally Unequal America, right? So I'm really looking forward to this book. I heard the author speak on NPR about this book, and I'm looking forward to it. It talks about the Second Amendment and all the race issues around the Second Amendment. So I'm looking to really get this one done. It's by Carol Anderson, who's a professor, I believe, at Georgetown. Not exactly sure. So again, Dad's Break. Please like the page, subscribe to the page. I'll talk to you. You have a good one. All right, guys.